Small business ownership can be a lonely road, but it doesn't have to be. At Business Over Beer, we help business owners shrink the time from startup to success through the power of shared experience. In this special Business Over Beer podcast series, small business owners tell the stories of the ups and downs of following their passion and help other business owners learn from their experiences. This is Passages to Success.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the second biggest podcast in the Pacific Northwest. We are still on the heels of those sapsy Sasquatch hunters.
Pesky Sasquatch hunters.
They're sapsy, sassy Sasquatch hunters. But I know that this will bring us to the top of the mountain, and we will reign supreme in the Pacific Northwest. That's right. This is Business Over Beer podcast. This is the Passages to Success series that we're having. And we are in front of people. I'm your co-host, Spencer Ross. Alongside me is the man of the hour, the terror of power. Some people call him the space cowboy. Some people call him man bun, but not anymore. They used to. Some people used to call him Stitches. Some people used to call him the Great Lakes Swamp Catfish Monster from the Root River. Whoa. But we, of course, call him Spartacus. Jonathan Kaler, happy Friday again.
Oh, it's so nice to be podcasting on a Friday, yes. Benjamin. We are live at our April Passages to Success member event. I said live.
Live.
There we go. There we go. They didn't believe me.
Jeez,
they didn't believe me.
They did now.
And Ben, I am Spartacus. I have led you here to the top of the mountain. We are recording from the Clark County Historical Museum. They were nice enough to lend us this space to have our event. And you know what? Speaking of ancient artifacts, down the way here from us is the gangsta of Hazeldale. He is the gift that keeps on giving. Are you all down with the KNOPP?
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, Jason Knope, welcome to Business Over Beer, my friend. How you feeling tonight?
Catfish Monster, I am doing fantastic.
Hey, of the Root River.
Of the Root River, yes. I'm doing great. I would rather call you Space Cadet, though, if that's okay.
That's perfectly fine.
So, yeah, I'm doing fantastic. And, again, we're here live, and we have some great guests. We have Jon Dyer and Kara Bowman, co-owners of CheckRight Northwest here in Vancouver, Washington. How are you guys doing today?
Excellent.
Yeah. This is your cue to talk. That's your cue. You guys can talk now.
I didn't know if we got the permission yet.
Yes, go right ahead.
No, we're doing good. Excited to be here. Happy to be here. And so it's weird not being on a pod or on Zoom with you guys, because that's usually when I see you.
I know, right? To be live and in person, it's great. So thank you guys so much for joining us on the program. We always like to start with your business. So maybe give us just the 50,000-foot view, the big picture of CheckRight Northwest, and kind of what you guys are into.
Great. Yeah, so we are a payroll service and accounting service here in Vancouver. We also have an office down in the Lake Oswego area that we just acquired in January, and they are exclusively doing payroll at that office. But yeah, we're just a small company that's trying to make a little space for ourselves here.
That's awesome. Not as small as you used to be.
No, not as small as we used to be. Not as small as we were when I hired Kara for 10 hours a week and, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's right. So you made the transition from employee to part owner, and I can't wait to get into that part of your story.
I like to refer it as 10 hours a week to 10 hours a day.
There you go.
Little leap.
I think
a little leap.
I think she has some feelings about that. We may get into that. So, but in Passages to Success in this quarter of the calendar, we always talk about growth, and you guys have an amazing growth story, and I can't wait to dig into that a little deeper. But Jon and Kara, this is the Business Over Beer podcast. This is the beer portion of the program. We ask all of our guests to bring a beer to share. Have you brought us a beer to share?
I did. I reached out to Von Ebert. This is Sector 7. It was actually fun. I reached out to a contact in Yakima and who works at Hopsteiner. So they get the hops from Yakima, and I actually was there when they were canning this. So this was literally canned and handed to me within minutes. And Eric down there was awesome. Walked me through the whole tour, showed me how the whole process from the wheat to cleaning them, the machines. And so to me, it reminded me, it's kind of like Paul over there with his cords, their whole factory. It looks like, in elementary school, we had to find the wire to, which hose is where. Yeah, that's what it was like. But so it was really good. Went down there. Was sunny, kind of, we talked about Mother Nature earlier. It was sunny and nice, and by the time they got to this one, it was downpouring rain, and they had canopies up. And they didn't stop canning. So great crew down there, absolutely amazing. This is Sector 7, and it's with the Sultana hops
Outstanding.
that they have down there.
Well, let's get into it.
Hold on, I got the freaking first 2-1 TikTok live.
Am I allowed to open it, or I gotta wait?
Well, it's on me right now. Sorry, everybody.
Didn't answer my question.
Nope.
Can we drink or not? If you open that one, there's one behind you that if he says you can't open it
Why do you
yet.
turn this around?
I think he called you the elderly one.
Yeah, look at him. Look at that. Let me look for my glasses
All
here.
these people joining. Too. Hey, what's up? Oh, jeez. You know what? Never mind, Aaron. Let's do this.
Hey!
There you go.
Hey, TikTok. Say hello to our people.
Say
Yeah.
hi. Say hi, TikTok.
You're all TikTok not really famous, so welcome.
Hey, this is the Business Over Beer podcast. We are coming to you live during the beer portion of our program, and our guest brought us a beer from Von Ebert, the Sector 7 Hazy IPA. We're about to get into it. We're going to tell you whether we like it or not. Von Ebert is a great choice. They're pros down there.
They have a good operation down there. I was very impressed, and
Multiple award-winning brewery.
Look
look at
at that.
the talent.
Look at how beautiful.
Pour and TikTok at the same time.
I'm going to get yelled at.
That's a Kaler pour right there.
I know. But I'm one-handed. It's my left hand.
That's no excuse. I poured mine with my left hand.
All right. Proasting.
Prost.
Prost. Prost.
Roast.
Can't even drink it.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Oh my goodness. That is delicious.
Wow. Holy jeez, that is delicious.
That is huge mouthfeel. Like it is. It just explodes on the front of your palate. Tons of tropical flavors. That is a delicious beer.
And from what I can smell, a little bit of vanilla.
Does it have vanilla in it? I don't get the vanilla. Do you get any vanilla, Canoper?
No, just the fruit.
I don't know. Well, I think
We got 10 people watching. That's awesome.
Well, that's good. Prost to them.
I'm sorry.
So you guys were nice enough to bring beer for us,
Yes.
but you guys don't drink. Is that
No.
right? So what are your beverages of choice then when you're sitting down on a Saturday night or after work?
Water or hot chocolate. I drink hot chocolate 365 days a year at some point during the day. Doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees outside.
Really?
It's like everyone's coffee. It's hot chocolate. Yes.
So in the morning, it's your morning drink.
In the morning or when I go to bed. Either way, one or the other. But it's literally every day of the year. And I will say, during the lockdown and those things, I realized that the Costco size Nesquik is servings of 80. And I went through 3 of those in less than 6 months. They should have lasted me a whole lot longer. So yeah, that's my addiction. So
With or without marshmallows?
Oh, depends. You have to have fresh, soft marshmallows.
I agree.
So it just
I
depends if the kids have left them open and they're, not so soft.
What if it's like 108 outside? Are you going to still drink hot? You're one of those people.
I am.
Whoa.
Well, did you drink coffee on those days when it was 116?
Hell no.
Oh, see, I still drank coffee those days.
Did you really?
Yeah, in the morning.
In the
Anybody
morning.
else do that? Like when it's hot?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. See, you're the weird one, not me.
Yes. Jeez.
Didn't
about
we-
you,
I
John?
thought
What
we
is-
knew that.
Well,
Oh.
I drink a lot of Monster energy drinks, unfortunately, for my health, probably. But, I just white can Monster Ultra.
365 days a year, no matter what the temperature is outside.
At least 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah. How many hours of sleep do you get at night?
A lot. I can drink one and go right to bed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's,
Oh, yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah, I have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. He definitely has a problem. Not me. I don't know.
It has no effect on me.
All right, say goodbye, TikTok.
Bye, TikTok.
Bye, TikTok.
All right.
Thank you. Great choice. Really, really good choice. Appreciate that.
Sweet. Yeah, delicious.
Cool.
So, let's talk bookkeeping.
So boring.
Beer was
not.
a whole lot better topic, right? your 10 people that were watching just tuned off when you said that.
Well, that's why we turned it off before we got to that point. We turned them off before they turned us off.
But all seriousness, so where did you guys start? Well, let's go back. How did you guys start? How did you guys meet? Did you guys work together? Or how did that work?
No, Kara was referred to me by my sister, I believe, when I decided that I needed to make my first hire. So going back before that, I was working for the Oregonian, and doing their distribution, and they were consolidating. Nobody was buying the paper anymore, so they were merging fields together, and I was let go. And I was in the middle of my accounting degree. And so I thought, oh, okay, this is a great opportunity for me to start working in the accounting field. So I got a job as a bookkeeper, working for an independent bookkeeper. So she had multiple clients, and came to a point in time where we just parted ways. It wasn't working out. And, I'm in the middle of my accounting degree. I went to school late, so I was late 20s. I think I was like 28 or 29 when I started. 3 kids at home. My wife didn't work, so I'm like, okay, I got to make money. So I'm just going to start doing bookkeeping and finish my degree, and then, I'll do the thing that everybody does, is try and be a CPA. And so I just kept doing bookkeeping while I finished my degree, and it grew, and hired Kara. And, by the time I finished, it was like, okay, do I pivot and try and become a CPA and change our business, or keep doing what we're doing? And, it made sense for us to just keep growing what we were doing. And at that point, it was just bookkeeping services. And then we started seeing our clients have problems with their payroll service. And it's pretty common. Big payroll services sometimes have a hard time working with small companies that have different needs. And so we started doing payroll for these clients, and, just sort of, that was kind of the beginning.
And what year was that?
We started in 2009. I think Kara came on in 2012, summer of 2012. So I had probably already graduated by then,
Yeah.
I think.
I think you had already graduated.
Yeah.
Kara, how did you land? Like, how did you guys meet then?
I was over at a sister's house, and I was working multiple jobs at the time, and I was just like, I need to figure out something. And so actually my first interview with him, he's like, well, what's your 5-year goal? And I'm like, I want a career. I'm tired of just having a job. And so, because at the time I was manager of the Child Watch at the YMCA. I was the treasurer of the PTA at the school. I was doing before and after school care. I was being a waitress. Like, I had my hat in so many places, and I was all over the place with, 3 kids at home and a husband at the time, and trying to support a family. And so I was like, I just need, so I was complaining to her, event session, with a girlfriend. And she was like, I think my brother might be hiring someone. And she's like, here's his number. So she, gave me his number, and I sent him over my resume and those things, and he took a chance on some crazy person that has way too many things going on in her life. And so our first office was a quarter of this room.
No, less than that. It was less.
We barely could fit two people.
Yeah, it was barely big enough for two people.
It was, yeah. And so, so at first it was very part-time. It was very, just come in, help do some data entry. I already had knowledge with, some bookkeeping because I was treasurer at the school. I do have a background in education with it, but I didn't go as far as he did, and finishing up my accounting degree or anything. And so, so I had some knowledge, but some basic knowledge. And we, so we started there, and, pretty soon he's like, hey, how much do we have to, pay you to start quitting jobs? And it was one of those things that was really hard because
It took forever for you to quit your jobs, though.
It did take forever.
Why did it take so long?
Because I don't know. I like helping people, and I didn't want to let anyone else down. And it's not that I thought highly that they couldn't replace me, but in Child Watch, like, I've seen a lot of these babies from the time they were little, and I've been there for 10 years. So I'm seeing these parents grow, and and I don't know. It was just one of those things that was hard to let go. And then waitressing wasn't too hard. I was working, that one was probably the easier of them to go, but that was also hard because it was a family restaurant. And so, telling my family, hey, but, I knew they'd be happy for me and what I was doing. And so in the before and after school care, again, I was helping out friends that, had jobs in those things. And my main goal and what I always wanted to be is just a mom and stay at home with my kids. And so, and all those jobs gave me the ability to do that in some aspect. And so I think part of it was afraid of losing that connection with my kids, because I was no longer going to be a stay-at-home mom. To do full-time would mean I'd have to commit. And so
what was that time frame from the time you started working with John part-time to the time you actually came on full-time?
About less than a year. About a year.
It wasn't very long, but
you
were still working.
It was 6 to 8 months, but I was still working. It took for me to quit everything. Like, I still worked at the YMCA as a sub for probably another 4 or 5 years. And so, and they could call me and say, hey, someone can't come in tonight. Can you help cover? Or the management, And so there were a lot of things that I did. So I didn't quit fully a lot of those things. And treasure, I think I still did I did that until my daughter was almost done with elementary school. And
so one of the questions we ask in our pre-questionnaire is, what do you wish you could tell, if you could tell yourself anything now that you learned at startup, what would that be? And you put quit your job sooner.
Yeah.
So what did you learn through that process, or once you came on full time, what did you realize, or what did you learn from that made you say, gosh, I should have done this sooner? Kind of what was that thought process when you went through that transition?
I think it was to believe in myself as much as John believed in me. I think that was a huge part of it, was just like, I asked John, I tried firing myself multiple times. Every mistake I made, I'm horrible. And so, and when you're dealing with other people's businesses, I take them on as my own. If I'm doing, someone's bank account, I treat it like it's my own bank account. If I'm doing someone else's payroll, it's like, their check's my check, and it's not really that way. But separating that was really hard for me to do. But going back, I wish I would have just let go of some of the things that were holding me back. Because again, I was totally replaceable at the Y. My friends found people to take care of their kids before and after school care. At the school, we're still friends, but yeah, they, another parent was looking to be part of the PTA. And so I was holding on to things, but I also think a lot of it was just trusting myself and trusting, and having the trust that John was going to be there to take care of me. Because at that time, I was just an employee. Without him, and if that job didn't work out, I was back to square one. And so letting go of those anchors that were holding me back, but they were secure, like at least I was, set somewhere, I was really hard at the beginning. And so, and then, once I quit, I never looked back. And, I treat his business like I treated all my clients' businesses, just as I would my own. And so how did you then
reconcile or find the work-life balance so that you could still be involved in your kids' lives? Because that was a big concern for you, that maybe I'm going to lose some of that. So how'd you end up reconciling that, and what does that look like?
I had an amazing boss at the time. Now business partner. But he really understands. I mean, because he had 3 kids. Our kids aren't that much different in age. And, you know, having that communication at the beginning, we didn't talk much. I was very, very shy. I may have said 10 words to him a month for the first year.
Is that true, John?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I was shy.
Yeah, we...
Like, what?
That I can't even imagine that.
People are like, what? Kara, you know, you see Kara now, and she's like, I can't get a word in, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's all good. Like,
Yeah, they've tried shutting me off podcasts before. Right? Mute. You're on Zoom. We got the mute button.
Kara, yeah,
Yes.
we'd like to have you on the podcast, but
No. So I think, but a lot of it was just, you know, just trusting him and building myself and knowing that, okay, it's fine to make mistakes in my life. I don't know where it was in my life that I figured if I made one mistake, everything was a failure. And that's not the case in life, you know, and I really learned just recently, we only make new mistakes once. And it's actually been my favorite phrase, and I've said it like 1,000 times. And it's so true, because if I wouldn't have made those mistakes, I've learned with everyone. But John was really patient. And with my kids, you know, because again, parenting's not a set structure, but it was, you know, if I needed time off or those things, or there was an emergency, you know, hey, yeah, that's fine. And then I could adjust my hours accordingly, because a lot of the books and stuff weren't in, you know, clients' offices. So we are kind of on our own schedule. As long as I got the work done, here's my deadlines. And he trusted that I was going to get it done, even if I had to go to a baseball game, or even if I had to go and watch my daughter sing in the choir concert at school that day. And so we had that trust in each other, that, you know, and just the communication at that point.
Yeah, we are a little lucky in our industry. You know, the payroll is the only really like time sensitive thing that we do. So like my son got into an accident on his bike. I just walked out of the office and went home. So, you know, we have some freedom. If you got a family thing, go do your family thing and take care of it. So, but we do work a lot. And so we make up for, you know, some of the freedom by probably working too much.
Yeah, we've literally been there till, you know, midnight, and cheers, here's a new day. And yeah.
Yeah.
Or on the phone at the last, you know, trying to fix problems before deadlines. And yeah, so we put in the hours, but it is nice with a family that we are able to have that little bit of flexibility of being able to do that.
yeah. Did you see all the nods when you said, when I made a mistake, I thought that was like I'm going to make all the mistakes now. I'm doing it the wrong thing. Imposter syndrome, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody feels that. Like, that's a real thing. And the fact that you got over it, the fact that you have a great business partner to make you feel like, no, you're doing the right thing. You're going to make a mistake. You are doing fantastic. That's huge.
He usually laughs when I make mistakes, because I'm like, you know, crying or something, and he's just like laughing, and I'm like, this isn't funny, and he's just like, it's fine, we'll fix it. I'm like, what do you mean? And
That happens in our business too. I cry when I make mistakes, and Canope just laughs at me.
And then I'm like, we'll fix it in post.
It's all right. Keep it together, man. Take a breath.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I tell you a funny story about crying?
Yeah,
The
please.
first time I cried in John's office, I had made a mistake, and I walk in his office. He's behind his desk, and I walk in, and I'm just like, and I can't even remember what the mistake was, but his look, I'm like, I cried, and it's the first time he saw me have emotion, and he literally was like, what do I do? Like, he had this like deer in the headlight look, like, she's broken. I don't know how to handle this anymore. Now he's like, you want to sit on my floor? Like, all right, just go for it. Like, you know.
Is there a
So,
control
yeah.
alt
But,
delete
yeah, the
restart
first
here that I
time
can
was
hit?
just like, she's broken. I
where's
like
the
it
door?
literally. It was
Yeah.
scary.
We had a roundtable discussion recently about growth, and it was a really interesting conversation because there's an inherent connection between the growth of your business and culture. And as you grow, the impact of your business culture is equally or even more impacted. You guys touched a little bit on your business culture. So talk a little bit about how you as the initial business owner have kind of developed that culture. Did it just kind of happen organically, or did you do some things intentionally, or how did you go about trying to build this culture where you've got such engagement, such buy-in, and also, allowing for that freedom and flexibility that's so important for families?
Yeah, it did not happen intentionally. It wasn't even on my radar. I'm more like, go to work, grind away. I can pound on the keyboard for hours, and and it just sort of became apparent, I think, to Kara that I was willing to work whatever hours were needed, however hard was needed to make our company a success. And when you see, the people that you're working with putting in the hours and putting in the effort and caring about the clients, it's much easier, I think, to buy in. Like, yeah, this really is a thing. We're really going to take care of these clients. We really want them to succeed. We care about their business. We care about them as people. And so it wasn't like an intentional culture building, these are the things that we're going to do every month, and we're going to sing Kumbaya, and we're going to hold hands. And it was more like, again, unintentional. I'm going to be the example. I'm going to work as hard as I need to. And I think Kara picked up on that. And probably for her, it became like a contest, like, oh, John's doing this, I need to do this too. Or, oh, John billed 40 hours, I need to bill 40 hours. So there's
Is that true? Is there a competitive streak in you over there?
There's a very huge competitive streak, and we do, yeah. I probably watch it more than he does, and he's just like, it's not a competition, you can stay the latest. I'm like, I know, but it kind of is.
So it's, but it was just, it was unintentional, but, it's like, you build your company the way you want it to be. If you want it to be a company with these values, you build it that way, and if it's good, people will grab onto it, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think I work, working for a lot of businesses, I work with a lot of different secretaries, a lot of different office people and those things. And one of their main complaints is they're at the office in the middle of summer, and they're, and they have all this to do, and they're stressing out, and their boss is out playing golf, or their boss is on vacation again, or, and me and John, we take a little time off. Leaving my laptop home, my parents' 50th anniversary, I leave my laptop home for the first time of any of my vacations. And I will say, it was a little bit hard, just to break that separation. But learning how to work hard and play hard kind of became my thing. But, John had a huge example. And when you see someone else have that much drive and that much passion in something, you want to gravitate to it. And I saw what he was doing, and I saw how he treated the business, and, I was a manager at the YMCA and Child Watch, and I had all these employees under me, and I was responsible for so many things, but I was never, it wasn't a part that I still had someone over me that was, not as motivating as John was, and showing me more of the business side of how it was. And I really stood by the fact I didn't want another job. I didn't want to have to, be job searching anymore. I wanted a career, and I wanted it to last, a lifetime. And and I was lucky to walk in and with John and realize that we are a very good fit, and we work just as hard as each other, and neither of us try to outshine the other. I think that's also another true leadership skill is, any of my success, he doesn't try to take credit for it or those things like, yeah, my business, oh yeah, we did awesome on that account. He totally gives credit where credit's due. And that's where I started becoming stronger in myself and believing in myself, because somebody else was believing in me. And that's how we treat, all our employees. And what I tell business owners when they're hiring people is, are they coming to work for the company, or are they working for a paycheck? Because you can get a paycheck no matter what company you work for. If they're working for your company, then those are the ones you want to invest in, because they're like, oh, should I give them a raise? They keep whining, they keep complaining. It's like, and so I have these conversations with a lot of employers, and it's like, well, Are they going to ditch you in 6 months, or you're going to have to give them a raise every month because, they keep threatening it? Is it worth that, or is it worth investing, and paying higher wage to someone who, is going to stay with you longer, And so, but finding those employees that work for the company and not for a paycheck. And that's, and I think that's what we try to instill with our employees is, we want you here and we want you here with the company, and be happy when you do leave that we were here and we helped you out.
So you two are you're partners now?
Yep.
You're
Yeah.
So Kara owns part of the business. I started it and owned 100%, and then we in 2014 we bought a payroll company out of, I don't know if this is the time to.
Yes, it's
tell
time.
this.
Yeah.
So this was a funny one because we're doing bookkeeping and a little bit of payroll. We have maybe 20 payroll clients. We're doing it all in QuickBooks, which is very hard to be efficient doing payroll. And I came across a bookkeeping client who had a payroll service, and I was like, oh, I've never heard of this payroll service, so I looked it up. Happened to be owned by someone that my dad knows. And, we had no growth plan at this point. We were just grinding. Of course, we were taking on new clients, but, just working and growing organically. We'd never done any marketing or anything like that. And so I sent this person an email. His name's Dan. And I just said, Dan, when are you going to sell me your payroll company? And his response was...
Were you just pretending? Were you just whatever? Were you playing
No,
around?
I was totally feeling it out. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, why not?
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
He could say no.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And his response was, let's do lunch. So we had lunch, and then within 30 days, we'd taken on 150 payroll clients and moved our office into their office. And so Dan was a CPA, but he also owned a payroll company that was separate from his CPA practice. And he was early 60s.
Yeah.
So he's exit strategy time. If somebody wants to take this problem on, let's give it to them.
Yeah.
And so, that was our first sort of growth experience.
And so how was that? So I'm taken by your almost nonchalance
I know.
of, I just built a great culture. I'm awesome. I just grew. I bought a new company.
I just drink
Well,
Monster.
So maybe that's the key. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, it could be the monster.
So talk a little bit about what was that process like for you?
Yeah, there was no plan. Once we decided that we were going to make this happen, then it was like, okay, how are you going to afford this? And so, we have great clients, I think. So I started reaching out to my clients. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to grow. This is what I'm doing. And one of our clients offered to loan me money to buy part of the business. And Dan carried the note for the rest.
That is badass.
And, it was just sort of old school handshake. Let's do this. So it was very fast. I mean, I just drove out to our client's office and said, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Are you interested? And yeah.
Wow.
It shows, though, how much trust they have in Jon as their bookkeeper and their financial advisor at that point, basically and that's just the integrity that he has. And that's what I think drew me in, was that integrity, that trust, that knowledge, and he is this low-key person all the time, buying a business and those things. That's just who he is, and it's just amazing. And I think our clients, and that's one thing, I try to emulate from him, is just that, that integrity, that trust, that, we're going to do the very best we can. And, most of my clients are like family, and I have to remind myself they're not. But, I did have one of my clients last year. They, during the lockdown, they got married. They invited 12 people to their wedding, and I was one of them. And I think that's the same with Jon, asking a client for, it's not like a weird situation, because, we do take that much interest, and they're not just a number to us or another set of books. It's honestly how we do business.
The reason I brought up that story was because of the ownership. So when we bought Payroll Relief, the previous owners kept 2%. basically so that they could say to their clients, yeah, we're still involved. And then when we paid them off, that was the first time that Kara became an owner. I just gave Kara the percentage that they had. I think I gave you 3.
3.
Yeah, 3%. And, that was her start in owning, and now she owns more than that.
I was going to ask, was there a moment that, John, you knew Kara would be the partner? But I'm going to guess, it just happened.
Yeah, it just happened, but also, I feel like we have a very open relationship, and Kara's been offered jobs before that are better pay than what we were paying her at the time.
For doing what you're doing now, or just different
I
jobs?
think they were in different fields
They were in different
and
fields even.
It wasn't like a one-time thing. And she's saying no to these jobs because she wants to be a part of this. And it's like, okay, if she's in, she's in. I have to make it valuable enough to her that long-term she wants to be a part of our growth. And, part of that is her understanding that eventually we want to retire, and I want her to be able to retire, and we both need money to do that. So there's got to be a plan, and she has to be a part of it.
That's kind of like us with Cano. We had that conversation.
They're taking care of you.
Except we're not offering him 2 or 3%.
No.
trying to take 2 or 3%. Damn it.
Keep gouging me. I've got all your data.
Yeah, you do. That's true. You hold it over my head.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just did.
The dark web.
But I want to go back to. I just want to make light of the fact that you had enough courage and confidence to make the ask, to say, you know what, I need funding, and the courage to and the confidence to ask for it, to ask for the sale, to ask for the help. That's a really important thing. And again, I don't want to gloss over that, because I think a lot of us have a hang up in asking for the help, asking for the sale. We don't want to overstep. We don't have enough confidence in ourselves or our offering or whatever it might be. And so I just, where does that come from for you? You don't have a big sales background. I think what I love about your story is that this is kind of all you know, right? You had these jobs prior to being a business owner, but you just kind of became a business owner. And I think there's a lot of power in hey, this is mine, and this is kind of what I did, and I didn't have to learn from anybody else. I just did it kind of myself the way I thought it should go.
Yeah, and we do in our industry have the benefit of working very closely with business owners. So, one of our clients owns a bike shop. Well, a bike shop down the street came for sale, so he bought it. So I see examples of people doing things that it's like, oh, you can do that. Or, we talk to these businesses while they're struggling, so I see things that they do that I can learn from. I also see the things that they do that are great, the successes that they have and why they're having them. And, I really don't consider myself a salesman. In fact, up until, I think, 2020, we'd never done any advertising or anything like that. We were more like, hey, we want to work. Call us if you want us to work, but we're not going to chase you around. And that worked really well for us. But we got to a point where it's like, okay, we need to have a growth sort of strategy and a pipeline of clients coming in as we grow and start hiring more people and things like that. But yeah, I guess I still don't consider myself a salesman, but maybe I just don't know what I'm not supposed to do. I don't know that maybe you're not supposed to ask people for money, or you're not supposed to ask them if you can buy their business when you've never run a payroll company. So could just be a limitation that has helped me to do things.
Don't tell
that
the
I
banks
shouldn't
that
be able to do.
It's so funny because back in 2010, I was working for a company, and I was building the first inside sales team at that organization. And I used to tell one of my sales reps, treat this next call like you're a child, because she was spending all this time researching these companies and she was getting mired and bogged down in the research and a rabbit hole of, I'll find this webpage, now that lead me to this and this and this, and then she was talking herself out of even making the call. And I said, stop. Approach it like a child. Go in without the information, because if you don't have the information, then that will lead you to the next questions that you need to ask. And that's kind of what I hear that you're doing is like, well, I don't know. Let me ask the question, and then I'll figure out my next tactic after I answer that. So I think you've honed in on a very important skill and a very important sort of sales tactic that.
Ignorance is bliss.
That a lot of salespeople haven't figured out how to master. So kudos to you on that.
I think a lot of times people think of sales as this thing that they have to learn. If I want to do anything with sales, I have to have all of this knowledge of sales. Where if you're just your authentic self and you go in and speak what a lot of people will come to that. And I spoke with someone, Kara, that you guys work with. And when you say that you take care of them like they're your own, when I spoke with this company, they told me how much time you invested with them and how great you were. It's no doubt that you guys take fantastic care of your customers. Just from hearing this from this one client of yours, couldn't believe it. You guys go way above and beyond. So there's a reason why you guys are doing so well.
So Kara, the other part of the question, when we asked, what do you know now that you wish you had known then? The other part of that question was,
I wrote some sassy comments. Are you going to read that?
Was don't bake for clients.
Oh, I think this goes with the same client.
There's got to be a story there. Is it the same client? Is it really?
I think it might be.
It
yeah,
is.
All right.
It
Well, I
is.
didn't know that.
Okay,
So there's got to be a story there. I need to hear it.
Because we take on our clients that like they're our own, and luckily for me, bad for John, he tore his Achilles and he had to have surgery. Wow. So it's the first time he had to trust me. He couldn't leave his house. So he sends me this email. I still have the emails. I love him. He hates that I keep them. But he sends me these emails of everything I need to do, and I need to go to these clients. And so, I'm trying to live up to John. I'm going in here. I'm still really timid. I'm still really shy. This is my first time going out to clients' offices and working directly with the clients and not just behind a computer screen. And so I go to this client and he is just giving me a hard time. And I know he's teasing. I have 4 brothers. I can take it, but I'm just I gotta win him over. So, I'm going there every week, and I'm I think I was there the second week, and I'm just he likes sweets. So the next week I came and I brought cookies. And so by the time I left, he's something that rhymes with armel would be good. And I just looked at him, he's like caramel? And so he wanted caramel cookies the next week. So what do? I made him caramel cookies the next week. But it's now to a point that, he also, it's more of a warehouse. They're running around working. I'm not. I'm literally shaking. I've taken pictures of the thermostat and sent them to John, it is 52 degrees in here. I can't work anymore. And so just teasing. And so he used to say, no treats, no heat. And so if I didn't bring treats that day to do bookkeeping, he wasn't going to turn the heat on for me. And so it just kind of became this back and forth. And he's been one of my clients now for 7 years.
Long time, yeah.
7 years. And I will say, I went there once and John never went back to any of the clients he gave me when he was hurt. They all became mine that same week. But it was just one of those things. So baking for my clients became very dangerous because I'm still on the hook for treats. It's crazy, yes. And, and he's a vegetarian. So I had to make a turkey out of Rice Krispies and fill it with M&Ms as a dressing. And, he's gotten some pretty elaborate treats. Wow. Yeah. So that's where I'm don't bake for your clients because they do expect it. And then I'm one of those people where I told John years ago, I have to quit. And he's like, why? I'm I ran out of creative gifts for you. It's I always want to one-up what I'm doing. And I'm I don't have time for this anymore. And it's the same way with him. So I always try to, but it's fun because it's nice that I can make him smile. And, nobody likes when the bill collector comes because that's what he also refers to me as because I'm the one who tells him how to pay his bills. And this is how much money you have. Oh, and by the way, you also have to pay the bill still. So now we meet every other week. So I only have to do treats every other week. But it's also funny because when I email him the bills he has to pay for the weeks that I'm not there, it always has to have a joke on it. And so I'm just like, so I'm just asking my coworkers, what jokes should I tell today? So yeah, he just, some clients just need a little babying, and he's one of those that, but he's absolutely an amazing friend. He's helped me out with some charity work and those things, just getting bikes to kids and those things. So it's been a good partnership of just but baking for clients was one thing I would not do because they kind of start expecting it after a while. And
well, if it's so cold in there, it begs the question: why didn't she just bring more hot chocolate, man? Why didn't she bring more hot chocolate?
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate was gone by then.
I guess.
Exactly.
So what's the future look like for CheckRight Northwest? So what's the next? You guys made an acquisition this year, right?
Yeah, so in January we bought part of the business of the People Group. So the People Group was a PEO, and they had a payroll service. A PEO is like they basically hire your employees and pay them as their company. It's a little complicated in the payroll industry, but so they've maintained the PEO, and we bought their payroll business. So now we have that office in Portland, and I don't know. I mean, it's just we want to provide a good service. So if we get to a limitation where we can't do that anymore because of how we're growing, then we have to pare back and make sure that the service is still the most important, because that's what our clients appreciate is being able to pick up the phone and have a human that is down the road answer that. Maybe I don't have the answer every time I pick up the phone, but at least I'm there and I can talk to them and I can talk them through their situation and I can get back to them. People are just so sick of the phone trees and the offshore customer service reps, and they can walk into our office and say, "Can I sit down and talk to you?" Yeah, sure. You can't do that with a big payroll service. So and there are other small payroll services in the area, but I think we're unique in that the way we provide that service to people. So I don't know what the future holds. I mean, from the start of COVID until we acquired the People Group, I think I was referred to 3 other payroll companies that were selling. One was in California, and they were way bigger than we are. And, that was like right when stuff was locking down. And, at that time, I'm like, is there even going to be a payroll industry in a couple of months? Like, no one knows what's happening. He ended up getting acquired by somebody else. And then we talked to another guy that was too small. And the one that we bought with Devin, it was just like everything was so perfect. The way he treats his clients is similar to the way we treat our clients. He and I are very similar in how we want to work with our employees and how we want to treat them. And so it was just like a natural fit, which made, the acquisition make sense for both of us, because he's staying on with us. He's actually going to be doing our sales program now. He's in, I think, mid-50s. Yeah. Probably. So he's not ready to retire, but he was ready to step back from part of the operation. So it was just a great fit. I mean, it'd be awesome if we kept finding great fits like that, but, maybe we won't. Maybe we just have to keep growing organically.
And do you want to stay in this region geographically, or are you looking at potential acquisitions to grow in a larger footprint?
I think we'd probably do better if we stayed here. I think that it would be easier for us to take care of people and build the relationships with our clients that we need. Because if you start, separating yourself from your client base and your employees, you can't have the same relationship you can when things are in person and local and close. And so I think we would lose too much by growing outside of our sort of sphere here.
And that impacts culture hugely. If you don't have a plan for that type of growth, then your culture starts to get fragmented based on the region or the geography that you've grown into. So
love that.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
So if you could give one piece of advice, and this is a question for both of you, I'd like you to answer, because this is part of the Passages to Success series. This is our Passages to Success member event. And at the core of everything we do is about shared experience. So I'd like each of you to share an experience that you've had or share a piece of advice for a small business owner with regard to your growth. If there was one thing that you could give, a piece of encouragement, a piece of advice, something to a small business owner about growth, what might that be?
You want to go first?
He's like,
more time to think.
he's like, I need time to think, so I'm gonna try to pass this
go.
on.
So a small piece of advice for people who are looking to grow their business. Trust in what you stand for. I mean, I think our business stands for itself and the integrity and the way we treat our clients and those things, and we had to trust that. And like Jon said, we didn't do any marketing or advertising until the last couple of years. We grew just by word of mouth and by who we were. And if you can trust who you are and those things, that natural growth will happen. And then you can have, the courage, I guess, to step outside your comfort zone and make kind of that leap of, yeah, you know what, I can do this. But just trust in the process. Like I said, I wish I would have quit my jobs and trusted in it a lot sooner than I did. I saw it. I just wasn't quite ready to grasp onto it at the very beginning, even though I wanted it. And so I was glad I eventually let go of everything. And yeah, like Jon said, I jumped full, both feet in and just keep swimming.
But you can't really do it. But you can't really do it till you're ready, right? So if you had
You
jumped
can't do
in
it till
before
you're
you
ready.
were
No,
it would
you
have
have
ended
to. Yeah, exactly. You have to make sure. And like I said, you have to trust in what you have. But like that natural growth has to happen first. Like you have to be able to see, and you have to want it. I think that's part of it. I mean, there are some people, who like Jon said, we don't want to grow to the point that we lose who we are and that core thing. So figuring out what that is and what that looks like with growth.
It's interesting that our business is unique in that payroll companies are acquired often. So it's not uncommon for a payroll company to be bought by another payroll company, kind of like the accounting industry or a CPA firm. And so the path to acquiring a company, it's like, this is the multiple, everybody knows it in the industry, and then you negotiate from that. So that part's really easy, but not every business is like that. So maybe, you're in the social media industry and those companies, no one can value them because it's so unique, or the clientele you have is unique. So maybe your path to growth is merging with somebody and not necessarily acquiring them or them acquiring you, but just partnering up. And, as a small business, I think we've all gone through this. You get to a point where you're like, okay, I can't really do everything. Maybe it's my accounting that I don't have time to do because I'm 4 months behind and I'm just going off of the numbers in my head at this point. Or maybe it's sales. You can't keep up with your pipeline. Stuff gets into your pipeline and you run it to the end, and then there's nothing at the beginning of your pipeline. So we have to accept that we can't do it all. And sometimes we have to bring people in. Sometimes we have to say, I'm going to outsource, because this is something that somebody can do. Over here, they don't need to be in my office. They don't need to really have knowledge of my industry or something like that. So I think just being open to opportunities and being willing to talk to people about, what you're trying to do will open you up to more opportunities as well. So
That's awesome. Well, you guys are incredible. Obviously, you've got an incredible business. You've got an incredible growth story. I loved hearing all about it. We're going to leave it there for tonight. But before we go, Ben, it's time.
It's time already?
Yes, sir.
Jeez. Jon, Kara,
I don't know what time it is.
it's
about to
time
find
for the
out.
final question. Are you ready?
Oh, I don't know.
What's at stake in this
She's
question?
saying no.
Avid listener of the podcast.
Kara-
Doesn't know what time it is.
Kara's got this one.
Well,
Kara's-
since we're in a museum, you get a call. This is a question for both of you.
Okay.
Kara, you have 1 sentence to answer this.
Not possible.
All right. You're in the office, you get a call. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, hello? This person is historical. And they want you to do their books. Who is that person? And they're historical. So somebody from actually, history.
I want to do Alexander Hamilton's books because he already did the books and wrote everything down, so they're all going to be nice and perfect.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Who said nice?
Hey, you said keep it short.
That's true.
That's
She did
it.
that.
John?
It may have been a run-on sentence, but I think I got it there.
Those are allowed.
That's a tough one. I'm trying to think of who I'd want to be, like, near. Yeah, I mean, one of the founding fathers would be really cool to be around while they're doing all of the decision-making that is, like, life-threatening. You know, like, okay, I'm going to make this decision and become a traitor to the crown. And,
Yeah.
you know, and they were all business people, too.
Yeah.
So they were trying to take care of people and employing people, and so being around somebody doing something like that would be cool. I think seeing
That's
them make
awesome.
the hard decisions.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on the podcast. If people want to find out more about you guys and CheckRight Northwest, where should people go?
Can go to our website, CheckRightNW.com. I think we have an Instagram and a Facebook page that are probably some variation on that too.
I would definitely recommend typing CheckRightNW.com. Don't do a Google search for CheckRight NW because Google will say, "Did you mean check right now?" And I did not. And when I said I did not, it said, "Oh, here's their website." So CheckRightNW.com.
And go read our Google reviews because my mom left a very funny one. So.
And as always, your contact information and everything we talked about, including the Google review from his mom, will be in the blog post and the show notes for this episode. So please go check all of that out now.
Perfect.
Canope,
Yes, Ben.
if people want to find Business Over Beer and Passages to Success, where do they go?
Well, that's easy. Bizoverbeer.com. BIZoverbeer.com. Passages to Success is there, our social media handles, and the fantastic blog is there. Bizoverbeer.com.
Awesome. I never knew bookkeeping would be this. You consider yourself bookkeepers? Is that what you want to call it? Like,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's how we started.
Yeah.
well, thank you.
He said it was going to be boring. Was it boring? No. Their business is awesome, right? Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, for real. Thank you both for coming on. This is awesome. This is. See?
Thank you.
What are we, a golf tournament? Come on, let's hear it for you. Much better. People up there. Golf tournament.
Yes. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Canope, you're all right. Kaylor, you're awesome.
You're here too.
You're here too.
But the people out here, the members, thank you so much. Give yourselves a round of applause. People watching, I'm sorry. People listening, you're welcome. We will see you all next time.
Good night. Business Over Beer is reimagining small business networking, and we're helping business owners be better business owners. Through our Passages to Success program, we're offering live monthly events, one-on-one mentoring, accountability groups, and helping you refine and tell your story. For more information, visit bizoverbeer.com. That's bizoverbeer.com/passages to success. Business Over Beer reminds you to always drink responsibly. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Business Over Beer, a TH3 Entertainment production.